What's going on, guys? It's Suspect here, bringing you guys another tips and strategies video for Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and today we're going to be looking over Fringe Hardpoint. Specifically, I'm going to be showing you guys how to effectively anchor on this map. This is by far, in my opinion, the easiest map to anchor on, right behind evac from my experiences. And today I'm going to be showing you guys some effective spots, the key points on holding the hill, what makes the game on this map, and of course I'm going to be showing you guys the class setups. Now today, the class setups, because you are an anchor, you want to be running an AR, and I do have 5 class setups for you guys. This is completely up to you. This is just what I use, and I only have these bottom 2 because in case of the ban and protect system, which I will have a video on eventually, what if your favorite gun gets banned? What if you can't use the KN-44? Or what if, the M8 gets banned, of course. You have to be able to effectively adapt to the other weapons. So I do have the M8A7, and of course you want to have long barrel and high caliber on these weapons as frequent as possible. On the M8, I don't really run a grip because it is a burst fire weapon, and it's really easy to recover from the recoil. So I run quick draw for snap aiming, rapid fire for for the burst delay to be shorter, long barrel because it is more effective on ARs, and high caliber for increased headshot damage. I also use fast hands. Well, I feel like it's a crutch perk, that's why I use it, and blast suppressor for obvious reasons, so you won't show up on the minimap while you're thrusting. Also the XR2, these are basically the same thing. I use them for the same purposes, so the XR2 is there in case the M8 gets banned and vice versa. I also use the Man of War, except I don't use high caliber here. I use the grip because the recoil on this gun is more bouncy when compared to other ARs. So I do keep this one on, and of course this one's an automatic AR, so it's going to be a bit, a bit more challenging to hold on to. I do have the HVK30 and the ICR here. This is all personal preference to you guys. I rarely have to use these weapons, but of course, in my opinion, the top 5 ARs in order to be making this video. So the specialist that I do recommend, I recommend 3 if you're an AR. If you're going to be an aggressive AR, go with War Machine or go with Annihilator. Potentially the Sparrow, but more than anything, Battery and Seraph are going to be the ones to do the job for you because, War Machine, you could just be spamming the grenade launcher, and of course you could be getting some pretty cool kills. Also Annihilator because it's got crazy range and it's a one-shot kill. But if you want to be more effectively at objectively playing the anchor role, go with Overdrive, mainly because you want to be getting to that anchor spot quicker than the enemy anchor, and of course you want to be holding down the spawns. That's the whole point of being an anchor, to hold down the spots. Now of course there are 4 hills on this map that I do know of, and you want to try, and for the most part, obviously in Hardpoint you want to try and get the most hill time as possible, but there are 2 hills on this map that are kind of just there for contest. They're not really money hills. The money hill on this map will be Top Grandma. That is, that one's got the best anchor spot in my opinion throughout the entire map, and of course you can get great lines of sight when you're playing inside the hill, which makes your job of covering much easier. Now the first hill for obviously is here in the middle, where you guys could take a look at it, right here in the center of the map. You want to be spawning barn side. Now this is because the anchor spot that I kind of get with my teammates is right off the bat by the barn. So what you want to have is you want to have your objective player run up in order to play the hill. Obviously you want another guy making sure that no one's hitting the flank through railway. You have your other Slayer kind of protecting your AR, like kind of making sure no one flanks here, and your AR is going to be stay put on top of the truck. This is great lines of cover for, for someone that's Top Grandma or by elbow. Someone covering the railway can make sure no one's flanking around, can get a good look at where the truck is at, and a better view at Top Grandma. The other AR, or the other Slayer, excuse me, can be making sure no one's flanking out over here, can kind of peek out every once in a while to help out. The objective player is going to be hopping out over here to the corner of elbow, and this is kind of risky when you first think about it, but when I go back to the anchor spot right over here, you can get a pretty good look at where your OBJ's at. You can look right above him, top grandma, all this stuff. Like I said, whenever you're an anchor, it's mainly to get the spawns, and it's so that way your teammates can go ahead and hop right back on the hill and be as effective as possible whenever they come and respawn. Now, one thing that I do want to point out is that your anchor's not always going to live forever. In case you guys do die, I don't know, maybe you guys want to have some sort of strategy where someone else anchors while he comes back up, or if you guys just simply stay alive. Staying alive in Hardpoint in this game is super imperative, and it's just like Black Ops 2 where your life really does matter. So it's not like in Advanced Warfare where you can hop an overdrive or an overclock and just thrust all your way back to the hill. You really need to play your life carefully. So that's kind of the role you kind of want to be playing in this first hill. This is a hill that I feel like is like, you know, the second hardest hill to mainly control. Not to say that you can't get time off it, but I do feel like it's a contestment hill. Now, coming over here to boxes, I feel like your anchor should be over here to make sure no one's flanking you around, and getting your spawns over here by grandma's side. Your objective player can hide behind this little wooden piece. You could have one of your other guys making sure to look at the alleyway, look at brick side, and your support can be also playing inside this hill, stay in the corner, kind of stay hidden. Don't get inside the red truck. I know I couldn't do it in the last time, but if you do go prone here, you actually go underneath and you can't get shot. So there is that. Try not to do that, but this one is a pretty easy hill to hold down for the most part. Just be very careful with it, and if you guys play it right, then you know you should be good on it. Now, this is the biggest money hill of all. Your objective player will stay on top, obviously, and you could be watching boxes. Your support could be watching the mid-map, and what your other two guys could be doing is either your Slayer can be on bottom over here, and your anchor will be in this very powerful position, which I think is the best spot right over here. This is a great anchor spot because your enemies or your friendlies, excuse me, are going to be spawning by the dome and by the water towers, so they can easily just hop back in onto the hill. You have great lines of sight by boxes so that your objective player doesn't have to do a whole lot. Obviously, you can weaken them up, and if they jump up, you know, your objective player can take care of it. Your support can be making sure, you know, no one's coming up through your railway side, and you could be watching the railway side. And this is just a great anchor spot to hold down for the most part. I love this spot. It's really effective, and it's super easy to call out on. Now, this is the biggest contestment hill of all of them. This is the last hill, and mainly what you're going to be doing here is peeking up, peeking out, you know, wall run, come back off. You're going to be doing like some crazy stuff. So, I mean, you could get a second or two every once in a while. It's like, I'm not saying you can't get points off it at all, but it's mainly just a contestment hill. And I've heard lots of arguments where like, oh, if you do want to get good time, you want to stay over here. But at the same time, the next hill comes back to mid. So you want the barn spawn. So in case you do end up anchoring this side over here, you know, it's not completely bad if you do get it. But at the same time, if you're on the other side, it's not so bad either, because your anchor can simply just come back onto the truck and get on that power position and sit right over here, and it's back to square one. Now, of course, Hardpoint, the way you want to play it is that you want to flood the hill from multiple directions. You want to probably flood it through brick side. You want to flood it through railway. You want to have your anchor up top on the barn, on the truck, or on grandma. You want to flood it from multiple directions, from a distance and up close. And I know I'm making it sound like the barn spawn is the most godlike. It's not. It's not actually the best thing. I mean, it is cool if you were to, you know, go and have barn spawn and then flip it over here to boxes. But if you do spawn by the dome, you know, off the break, it's not a completely bad thing, because like I said, mid is kind of like a contestment hill. You know, you could try and have your objective back over here, as long as he covers himself right there and right here, and covers himself well while someone else is covering him over here by elbow or top grandma. You know, he could just get some time, or come over here and cover himself through window and someone else watches his window. It's not too bad. Also, this is a nasty head glitch to try and get him off right here through the truck. But let's say, you know, for example, hey, they do get most of the hill time here. They get like 30 seconds, which is a lot of time for this hill. you know, it's not the end of the world, because what did I say about the second hill? You want to try and have box spawn. So if your teammates are spawning over here by the dome, it's not the end of the world, because you have the spawn that I did recommend, and you can easily just compensate through that. And if you play your cards right and you win those important gunfights, because that's what it comes down to in Hardpoint. Who's winning their gunfights, who's getting the better plays, and who's playing as a team and communicating to the greatest extent. You know, you could be very effective on this hill. Your OBJ can hide over here. You know, you can have one of your Slayers over here watching, you know, the alleyway, and can be watching the brick side. Your support can be out over here, you know, inside the hill, and can be watching a bit more aggressively on the alley, while your anchor, of course, is back over here. You know, you can play your cards right and you can get a good comeback going. But since you're now already holding this side, you already have access to the grandma hill, which means you already have access to the biggest power position on the entire map. So in reality, if you do spawn on the other side, it's not a bad thing. You could actually have a good upper hand on the second quarter of the map. And, you know, as long as you can control yourself, win the gunfights, and win from a distance, you can be very effective on this map. And you can actually get a good lead off of it. Now, at the same time, if you do spawn barn and you get a lot of hill time here, you could force the spawn to flip if your teammates simply, you know, maybe one goes over here through bricks, and, you know, the rest of your teammates just go ahead and just bombard the box area. You can successfully flip the spawns, which is what I really like about Treyarch maps, is that they're very balanced and they're very counterable, which is why I'm giving you all these tips. And I know it's a lot to take in, so I really hope you guys can go ahead and look back at the videos, pause them, rewind at some points where you don't understand, and all that good stuff. And of course, let's say you do come over here and you're on this spawn, and, you know, on second half you get your specialist, you can easily just overdrive it, come straight over here, and, you know, you're already at box spawn for the most part. And this is why overdrive is really good, and which is why I recommend it. Of course, you could use War Machine or Annihilator or Sparrow for the long distance kills, and of course to feed off it. So, oh yeah, one more thing. In case you guys are spawning over here and you want to get a cool little thing, you can actually look over here through the fence. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, rating, subscribe if you haven't already. I will be having more videos, more tips and strategies videos coming up in the future. For right now, it's Hardpoint. I'll be coming up with Uplink and some Capture the Flag later on. But this is for now, guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support, and I'll be catching you guys later. Peace out.